Well, hello out there to Blog Talk Radio Land. Darling, it's another glorious Wednesday. And, honey, you know what time it is. So, baby, get your crumpets together because it's time to dish tea. And you are dishing tea, darling, with Big Meats. Hey, babies. Yes. Honeys. It's been a fantastic 7 days since we've last met with one another. And I feel bombastic and fabulastic and all of the other astics, honey. Yes, I do. Let's see, since we've last talked, honey, I went home to Detroit and had a fabulous time at the Five More Artists Detroit show. We put together a spectacular performance for you, and also we had some great and wonderful artists that were out displaying their work, and actually had a number of sales, honey, that were absolutely fantastic. So if you missed that event this past weekend, honey, do note that next year is going to be even bigger and better. So keep your ears open and all of that. So as the time comes along, we will let you know what's happening. So I hope that that's not the next time I'm in Detroit. I'm looking to start coming home semi-annually versus annually, so that I can have time to go in and not necessarily work when I'm there. You know what I mean? Because I still missed a lot of people I missed with visiting and things. So that there is that. But we had a wonderful time. Thank you to all those who came out. Thank you for supporting the uplifting communities and understanding what they were more about. Our theatrical presentation was it was a live commercial, if you will, or PSA announcement that spotlighted the charity. So if you missed it, honey, I'm telling you, it was fantastic. Okay? So if you're tuning in right now, and I need you to do this, because I would like to set up today's show as a roundtable discussion, call in at 347-205-9183. 347-205-9183. Today, my darling, we are going to be talking about an age-old question, and that is all in the spirit of Gay Pride season, because, you know, this is June, and it's Gay Pride Month nationally, and then a lot of the black gay prides will be taken off as well. So we're in Gay Pride season. And this particular question, along with a few others that I have chosen today, is one that always gets us talking, and I think we either talk around it and get confused with it. But nonetheless, you know, there is no right or wrong. Sometimes we just need to find out what's what. And the question is, why is it that straight men and straight women and gay men always find themselves attracted to that bad boy or that thug or you know, their whole image? You know, what is it about that we find so alluring, so attractive, so, you know, that way? And we're going to tackle that today, along with, you know, that feeds into the whole idea of masculinity versus femininity within the LGBT community. There seems to be this great, big, huge divide at understanding what that means. Why is it that masculine men who identify themselves as gay or not identify themselves as gay have a problem with the feminine men? You know, what is their whole dynamic? You know, that there is one of the biggest issues of LGBT culture, and one of the biggest divides that we have as far as LGBT persons and our counterparts intermingling and coexisting in this society. So that there is going to be part of our discussion today. Plus, there are going to be other things that come out, and I want you guys to have your voices heard. So my darlings, honey, please feel free, get passionate with me. Call in at 347-205-9183. Again, 347-205-9183. Now, let me put my disclaimer here. And this show is for mature audiences, and the language and subject matters are not appropriate for children or anyone who is not mature to handle the subject matters. Your listening discretion is advised. Again, your listening discretion is advised. Now, I have a potty mouth. I make no excuses for it, so I'm telling you, if you're listening at work, this particular show here, you may want to turn the volume down to a personal level, or you may want to put your earphones on, because I don't know what bag I'm coming out of. Just know that I am coming out of a bag. On this Don't Come Out of a Bag Wednesday. How about that? Okay, now before we get started, let me say thank you to all of my sponsors who help make this possible. I really adore you, and I appreciate you so much. Trade Day Management and PR firm at Trade Day. Enjoy a touch of Southern hospitality with a universal appeal. For all of your public relations and entertainment needs, contact Travion Davenport at 678-523-3088, 678-523-3088, or email her at tradedaypr@gmail.com. That's Tradeday, TREADAYPR @gmail.com. Thank you, Trade Day. Also, Pharaoh's Treasure Box. Fine art, unique jewelry, and sensational 3D silk floral arrangements. Creations by Taps. For all of your decorative needs, contact Pharaoh's Treasure Box at 248-688-5178 or 79. Again, 248-688-5178 or 79. Or you could email them at pharaohstreasurebox@comcast.net. Again, Pharaoh's Treasure Box @comcast.net. Parisian Wine Productions, music to lighten your spirits and lift your soul. Specializing in gospel and inspirational house dance music. For all of your Christian productions, if you want to put that Christian set together and need some Christian house music, contact Paris Hairston. He's the CEO at 347-406-7734. Again, 347-406-7734. Or you could email Paris at paris42268 @yahoo.com. Again, paris42268 @yahoo.com. Thank you, Paris. C-Train Productions. You are aboard the right train for all of your entertainment needs with C-Train Productions. Omar Casserly is the CEO and founder. For all of your casting, producing, and production needs, contact Omar at www.ctrainproductions.com. Again, www.ctrainproductions.com. Life Fellowship of Christ Ministries, LIFE. Live in freedom everywhere. Reverend James Coleman is the leader and founder of this ecumenical social justice ministry brought forth to free the oppressed and introducing a fresh approach to the Christ consciousness. Contact Reverend Coleman at mustardcole@yahoo.com. Again, mustardcole@yahoo.com. For more information about his services and any of his outreach programs and other auxiliaries, contact him at 313-833-9278. Again, 313-833-9278. Also, Eacham Vidal Couture. Enjoy high fashion with a luxurious twist. Step into the future with fresh, innovative couture. Designs by Miss Michi DeVille. For more information, contact Michi at 313-996-9807. Again, 313-996-9807. Okay? Big Brothers Network, the BBN, is up and running and launched its premiere episode or premiere magazine this past Memorial Day weekend, excuse me. It is a new online webzine designed to show the world the class and style of the debonair man of size. For more information and for advertising rates, please contact Big Daddy Tony Brown at Tony@BigBrothersNetwork.com. Tony at BIGBROTHAS Network.com. Thank you so much. Also, we have ShowtownTV.com. That's Showtown TV, SHO-TOWN TV.com. Carlon Regina Dixon is the head videographer and the overseer of the program, honey, where you are the star. If you want your own television show, want to cut your own music videos, need any kind of recording, productions, and audio, and all of those kinds of services, Showtown TV is for you. We are not a website, we are internet television. ShowtownTV.com, SHO-TOWN TV.com. For more information, go there and contact Carlon Regina Dixon. She'll be more than happy to assist you and bring you up to date into the 21st century. So thank you to all of my sponsors out there. Always looking for more to come on board, so please do your thing, honey. If you need any other information, give me a call or email me, rather, at dishingteawithbigmeech@gmail.com, dishingteawithbigmeech@gmail.com. Okay? So I feel like I'm rambling that, but I'm sitting up here trying to text folks and do this and do that and et cetera, as I'm reading these announcements, because I have folks that are looking to come into the realm. So we want to make sure they got the proper information. So we're going to get things started. Like I said, today, it's going to be that type of show. I want to hear from you because I want to make sure that we talk real, we talk honest, and, you know, we just dish the tea, honey. We're dishing the tea, okay? This particular conversation that we're going to engage, like I said, it's an age-old conversation. However, it was recently struck up on Facebook. I belong to one of the Facebook groups called From Boys to Men. And in that particular group, the moderator had asked a question. And the question is simply, why do straight women and gay men always find themselves attracted to or always want to be bothered with that thug or that bad boy image? And there were several different takes on it. You know, folks chimed in on the discussion, and then it became an exchange between me and a couple other people. And so I decided that since we are in Gay Pride season, that I want to tackle this again, and I want to go a step further. Like I said in the introduction, I want to take it a step further because I think what happens is the fight becomes more of masculinity versus femininity, and that whole thing of why we as gay men, or just society period, you know, are taken aback when it comes to the feminine man, you know, or in some regards, if they're too feminine or if they're too much of a butch queen, you know, society takes back at that. And I want us to delve deep into it. I want us to take time and to talk about it. You know, what you like, what you don't like. You know, and just be real. Don't worry about it because I can handle it. You know, we just want healthy conversation. So, give me your thoughts. I'm gonna chime in on mine in just a second. I see I got a hand up. But if you're coming in, 347-205-9183. 347-205-9183. Also, here was another question that was posed in the same group, and that was penis size. Men, do you find that you define yourself by your penis? You know, Is it what makes you? Is it what breaks you? Is it the deal cincher, the deal breaker? You know, do you define yourself by your penis? Your dick, honey. Do you define yourself by that? Again, it was like I said, from boys to men. That was one of the discussion questions. It was several questions added to that. However, that's the main question, and I thought that was very interesting because here's the thing that I find on that one, and I'm gonna talk about that one first. I'm gonna go back to the other one. See, we as men or male children, we all have been raised with that mentality that the sexual prowess of a man is everything. Everything that we have been taught about being a man revolves around the dick or the power of the penis. Everything, whether you gay, straight, bi, tri, don't know, as long as you were identified as male from birth, everything about our culture revolves around your power of the power of your penis. Everything. You're not a man unless men will be men, boys will be boys. And it seems as though there's this big old take on it, and I don't understand what's happening. You know what I'm saying? If you're not, you know, the big pimp or the big daddy that got all the different girls or the women or whatever, then you're looked upon as soft and uncaring and not man enough. We have women who are, step up and be a man about it. Now, you say you want a nice, sensitive, somebody who talk to you, somebody who understand you, but he can't be lip-wristed because then he ain't man enough. You know, he got to know how to lay it down in the bedroom. He got to know how to take me this and this, that, and the other. But everything in this society about being a male or the male progress is surrounded by the power of the penis. So how many of you out there define yourself by it? You know, how many of you out there got so many belt notches on your bedpost to where you think that's what being a man is all about because you got locker room stories? Interesting. Now, I'm going to go here. I see we have a caller here, 323-674. 323-674. I'm bringing you in, baby. Hey, hello, darling. You're dishing tea with Big Meat. Hey, baby.
This is Scott.
Hello, Scott. This is the moderator of From Boys to Men. Get it, baby. How are you, sugar?
Good morning. I am blessed this morning. For me, it's morning. For you, it's in the afternoon.
Oh, that's right. 323. You're in California.
Oh, yeah. I'm in California. Yeah, I'm here. And you know what? I'm just glad to be here. I'm glad that you chose those two topics. I initiated that conversation with men on Facebook because as you navigate through the profiles, that's a big thing, whether or not you got a big dong hanging or not. And I thought about it. Does that equate your manhood? And as I thought about it some more, when you talk about culture and our culture, you know, when we were enslaved, stripped of everything, our women, our children, our whole identity. The only time or the only thing we had left was our penis. That's the only other thing that we had that we could say that made us a man. And I think that has filtered down through our generation, especially with African American men. We pride ourselves on a penis. And I think a lot of times what happens is that our penis makes us. We don't make our penis. Yeah,
exactly.
Have one, go at it. But I'm saying define yourself beyond your penis. There's power in it, definitely.
Darling.
Oh, yeah. Define yourself beyond penis. In fact, I'm starting to write a book about that.
Oh, well, lovely. Okay. But see, you know what? Let me be the devil's advocate here because, well, not necessarily the devil's advocate, because one of the things, like I said in the intro, is that this particular society that we live in, You know, it defines itself by the power of the penis. Now, let me go even further. It's the African American diaspora. And African American men cannot seem to move beyond that of the dick. Because everything in us, like you said, back in slavery, when we were stripped of everything, we knew we were not going to be around our family for long. So it became our sexual passion or whatever was a mark, if you will, to leave behind, to say, I want you to leave you something to remember me by. This was something very sacred. It was honored, you know, between a man and his wife. Okay, knowing that at any given moment he could be taken from his family. And to understand that during those times, not only did Massa rape the women, honey, Massa took and demasculinated our men in front of their women.
Exactly.
Okay. And henceforth, why our culture seemed to be bitter with the whole gay thing to begin with. And then, okay, then on top of it,
we were all sleeping with each other in those slave ships, but nobody wants to talk about that.
Hush up now. See, you finna step on something now that the kids don't want to hear. Okay, they don't want to hear that was a part of it. Because when we was on them slave ships and sitting up on top of each other like cargo, okay, not only was, you know, because we think about all of that, because you couldn't move. So not only was we defecating and things on one another, there were those moments, honey, where, hell, you know how it is when you wake up in the morning and your dick hard.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we don't, exactly, and you got a hole there. Exactly. You know, come on now. Now, see, a lot of folks don't want to go there because that's too far out of a bag for them. However, it's there, and won't nobody go beyond, go inside that box and look inside and pull out all of those things there. But we've stored that kind of information away. And so now, here we are in the 21st century. The man now, you know, the idea of manhood has changed. Because unless we pimping, we balling, you know, we got bitches on every arm, those fighting over us. And this here is just being a man, whether you gay or straight. Because in LGBT culture, the African American man, who was a piece of trade, honey, got the femme girls fighting over him. You got the trans girls fighting. You got the butch queens fighting because of a piece of trade. Bitch, you step with my trade.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And that there becomes an ego boost. You know, and all of this, that, and the other, because we sit up there, and as long as the dick was good, as long as it was fabulous, he my trade. You know, and then if he laid it down on me properly, he's my husband. Okay. And so, so then, you know, we as, you know, African American folks of the LGBT culture, particularly those who identify as MSMs, men who have sex with men, this here becomes a whole dynamic that we see to be a way of life for us. You know, it's an unspoken rule.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's an unspoken rule. So I guess the question becomes, where do you see us evolving out of this? Do you? Do you see us ever evolving out of that as a culture?
I think there's a shift occurring. I do. I think it is, and I think that the younger generation has a little bit more insight spiritually, not religiously, but spiritually.
Okay, get it.
And I think there is a shift occurring in our culture, and I think it's a good thing. But I think it's like most things. Somebody has to have a nerve to talk about it. Because some of the younger guys that I talk to, they're a little different than the guys in the set that I ran with, because when I came out so many years ago, it was like, you know what, you dress up, you look good. If you got a big one, you know, you stick the boys that'll let you. And you know what, you get those with a big one, you let them stick you. And it was all about money and prestige and power. and if you looked good and who was on your arm. And I see a shift occurring. I don't know if anyone else sees it, but I see a shift occurring with this new culture. They're more spiritual. I think you have the churches now that are opening their doors. You have churches like here in L.A., like Agape, that just embraces everybody, all cultures. And what we're starting to learn is that there's nothing wrong with me. So therefore, if nothing's wrong with me, it's okay for me to be who I am. And if I'm truly being who I am, then I can make better choices. But see, when I'm hiding in the closet, and when I'm one way when I'm at work, and another way when I hit the club, and I act this particular way with this group of friends, and that way with my family, and this way with the church, it gets all mixed up and confusing. And what usually happens at the end of that particular post, what I said is most guys that identify like that are, you agree, are very scary young men with a lot of problems. And I see that we're moving beyond that. It may take some time, but I do see a shift. So to answer your question, yes, I do see that there is some change, and I think it'll grow. And I support that. I support that because we're more than our dicks.
Okay, you know what? Most of us have to understand what more than our dicks mean. And see, to go beyond that means that we have to explore other avenues and other facets of ourselves. And once we do that, then the whole idea of defining masculinity is challenged, because a man, the definition of a man has now taken on so many different sub-points now.
Right.
To where the main thing that folks want to make sure of is that they're seen as masculine. They're not soft. They're not wimpy. They're not, faggoty or bitchy or whatever. And so I think men have a hard time with defining themselves outside of the dick, because as long as I'm fucking my wife or my companion righteously, as long as I'm going to work and bringing home the coins, that's all I need to do, because I'm taking care of my responsibilities. So it's taught. You know what I mean? But stepping outside of that, is where we run into problems, because, a man, being a male child I'm one who likes the arts. Okay. I like, I'm an actor, I'm a singer, I like, dancing, I like fine art, and going to art museums and galleries and that kind of stuff, being cultural. And a lot of men don't know how to tap into that, because they see that as being chickish. I like watching shit that make me cry, because I need a catharsis in me to get some shit out. But that there's too fucking wimpy.
There you are. And that's my question about soft males. I mean, what the hell is that? What is a soft male?
Very good.
What does that mean? Because you like art, because you're in touch with your emotions? Because God instilled those emotions in you and they come out when appropriate, and therefore that makes you soft or weak or feminine?
Well, yeah, because, see, as men, now here we go, see, we were all taught to bottle that. When we fell off the bike or fell down and skinned our knee and it hurt and we cried, both mama and daddy said, "Shut up, boy, you ain't hurt.
There it is.
You better not cry. Use a little boy, shut up and man up. That didn't hurt you." What the fuck you mean that didn't hurt me? I'm the one with the scraped knee and bleeding. Okay, what the hell you mean that didn't hurt? Yes, the hell it did.
Exactly.
And so as children, as male children, we then grow up thinking that, or have learned to suppress that kind. That's how come men don't go to the doctor.
Exactly.
Because it ain't supposed to hurt. Oh, that don't hurt. Shit.
More men to discuss the whole doctor thing. Whether you're straight or gay, it just doesn't matter. men don't do doctors. It's crazy
Right.
unless there's a huge emergency, you're near death, or you've gotten so sick, you have no other choice but to go.
Exactly.
You know, and that's why our rates of illness are so high within the African-American community, men in general, but particularly us as a culture. One thing I wanted to say, a couple of years ago, I used to facilitate a group, and I would open the group like this. This was an internalized homophobia group. When babies are in the nursery, and it's a whole slew of them, and when their name tags that baby this one, baby Jones, baby Johnson, how do you determine which baby is male and which is female? And everybody would just kind of stare. It would be the opening of the group, and nobody had an answer ever. And we start that at birth, because what we do is we put blue for boy, pink for girl. And the pattern starts right there, because there we distinguish this is a blue, this is a masculine color, pink is a feminine color. That makes you a girl, this makes you a boy.
You know what?
Can you tell you in a diaper, all we see is a baby.
Wait a minute. Because I've always wondered that. Get away from me. Because I've always wondered that. When in the hell did colors become masculine and feminine? All I know is pink. All I know is blue.
Exactly.
That when did colors suggest that it was too girly or too masculine for anything? I never understood that. I happen to like pink. I like lavender. I love the pastels. Now, it's okay for Easter. You know, we have a time because we're spiritual then, I guess. And it's okay for Easter.
It's okay to put a little pink shirt on with our cream color blazer and slacks. That's acceptable because now we're enmeshed in the culture. You know, pink symbolizes Easter a lot of times, and it's okay. We can kind of pull that off right there.
Exactly.
But it starts at birth. It starts at birth, and then it just goes on, because when you start to buy your children toys, dolls for girls, and trucks for boys.
Trucks for boys. Right.
So where is that written? And what person made this law? The trucks had to be for boys and dolls had to be for girls.
And
why
then,
not in reverse?
Wait a minute. Because, see, here's the dichotomy of all of that. Because you have some of your best truck drivers are women.
Exactly.
And we all know that part of the stereotype of LGBT culture is that men who do hair are gay. But your best hairstylists happen to be men.
That is true.
Women prefer going to a male hairstylist because they know a man is going to make sure that she looks good and not hate on them with that bitch shit that women go through.
Yeah, exactly.
So, do you know what I'm saying? So their whole dichotomy of that is I mean, actually it's a paradigm because it is absolutely crazy. Women were known to be cooks, but some of the best chefs are men. Emerald Lagasse is all-day man. G. Garvin is all-day man. You know?
Exactly. But I can take it a step further. Even biblically and religiously and spiritually, we always refer to God as a he, meaning all-powerful.
Right. Okay.
We don't really know that. Maybe God is a she. Maybe God has a feminine side. I mean, that would explain for Mother Nature. I mean, but we just automatically assume when we mention God, he. How do we know?
Exactly. Well, you know, I've always said God cannot create that which God is not. So if women are in existence, that God has to be female if we're all born in the image of God. So, okay.
I concur. I so concur. But these thug boys, you know, here's the thing. I thought about it. You have guys, which I happen to like, T.I., Ray J. 50 Cent, love their demeanor. However, we have a black U.S. president who's well-spoken, polished. He looks very good. He's running a country. And, yes, some people find that attractive, but to the whole, and if you really just separate it, you take younger black men And younger black women who are heterosexual do not find Obama, they may be receptive of what he's doing. They may look at him as a role model, but I don't think that people look at Obama and say, damn, he sure is fine. I want that nigga to jump my bone. But you take a T.I., 50 Cent, a Terrell Owens, and you put them up there, and it's mass hysteria.
Right, exactly.
Tyler Perry. There had been a post about Tyler on Facebook calling him a fag. And I responded to that. I said, let the man come out on his own. But okay,
exactly.
Let's just say hypothetically he is. Okay, here is a man who was homeless, or a man that was flat broke. This is a man who worked his way to success. Who brings joy and laughter into people's homes, who makes work and jobs available for actors and non-actors, and who just has really blossomed. We look at Tyler Perry and say, damn, Tyler Perry is one big old thick, fine-ass dude. I'd love to get with him. We look at him and say, that's a big girl. Tiger Woods has recently been in the media, with all of these extramarital affairs with white women. I mean, as a culture, do we really look at Tiger? I mean, the average black woman, think about it. The average gay black man will look at Tiger and say, damn, Tiger got still go to that stick there. I sure would love to get with Tiger. No. But I use those three men because I'll tell you three things about them. They're soft-spoken, they're highly intelligent, and right now they're role models for people. But for us, a lot of times in culture, when you take a look at a person's Facebook page and people that they admire, you got the, again, the T.I.s, the 50 Cents, and, I can't think of the other little guys' names that are really popular, Drake, and these kind of guys. And we look up to these guys, we view them as sexy, and I'm not taking anything away from them because they are sexy.
Right.
They are sexy. Now, truth is truth now. But why is it that as a culture we're not able to go beyond that image? Why can't we go beyond that?
Because, like I said in the posting on Facebook, we don't want to go beyond the image because the image is what represents the fantasy. Okay, it's the fantasy that we all hold to. Because all of that works as long as it's in the bedroom. You can be this big old strapping mandingo, thing, just this hardcore, I'm a bite bullet for a living, kind of shit. And, you a take charge kind of thing. And all that is erotica. Okay? It's erotica. Because when you think about it like that, see, I get moist. Just, you be like, oh, my God. You just, the bitch in you just come out. You know what I mean? Because everybody wants someone that's going to take care of them and feel secure. So that whole thug image, this whole solidarity, I'm down on my shit, I can't be fucked with kind of thing, all of that holds true, but it's a fantasy, and it only works in the bedroom. Because when you have someone who is a strong personality, once we done got through rolling and twirling and turning into hay, and we come back into regular reality, and you sitting up finna go to kick your feet up, and talk about, bitch, get me a beer. Who the fuck is you calling a bitch? Where's your job at?
Exactly.
These bills got to be paid.
Unfortunately, there are some of us, both gay identified males and women, who will accept that because they meet the fantasy in the bedroom. And because that's so powerful to us sexually, and we're sexual creatures, and for those of us, including myself, who have had to work very hard to get to where I am with my esteem, we'll accept that. We'll accept where the fuck is my bed. Motherfucker this, bitch, do this, that, to that, because the benefit of the payoff for us is during that hour, 30 minutes, however long it lasts, that we are entwined with that person. And for some of us, that's just a small price to pay to go through all of that hell we have to go through just for that time that we're in that bedroom and that bed we feel a part of. See, what we have to get away from is that, but God said this to me one day when I made a description about the kind of mate I wanted in my life. You know what he told me? He said, if you want that, you need to become that.
Exactly.
I said,
exactly.
But we attract what the fuck we are.
Exactly. Hello. And folks, they got that. They ain't got that one yet.
So, and you know what? There was a shift in my thinking from that moment on. He said, and I don't mean if you want somebody with a six-pack and bulging muscles, you have to become that. But the mentality that the person has to get to that, you need to get some of that.
Exactly.
I was like, ooh.
Exactly.
Ooh.
Exactly.
I get it. And that's why I even started from Boys to Men, because there is a process. And I don't mean the process that happens during puberty where you're 17, you got acne, and your dick is not, it's not finished growing, and your feet might get a size or two bigger before you turn 21. I don't mean that kind of growing. I meant the growing of coming from a boy thinking like a boy to becoming a man. And I didn't mean that on the physical level. I meant it on emotional, spiritual, definite, and mentally. We have to, if we call ourselves men, we have to define what a man is. And a man for me may not be what a man is for another man, but we have to learn how to define what manhood is, what that means. So, for anybody else that's listening, if any other people from the group tuned in today, that is the purpose of this group, so we can know who we are. Because we don't talk to each other like a thank you so much for this radio show, because people should take advantage of these things. A lot of us can afford to go to therapy. This is very therapeutic.
Exactly.
And really discuss some really deep issues that we don't even, chip the tip of the iceberg with. And we work, you get my age, and then you're wondering, where did my life go? I want to share this with you, and I hope other people will live. For a number of years, I worked in the HIV and AIDS field, and I used to do risk assessments, and I was at a bathhouse one night, maybe about 10 years ago, and there was a guy in there. He was 69 years old. He was white. And, I had on all my clothes, so he was wondering, what the hell was I doing in there without a towel on. And, I told him a little bit about what I was doing. He answered all the questions, and let me just shorten this. What he said to me, he said, do you have a lover? And I said, at the time, I didn't. I said, no. And he said, well, how old are you? And I said, I'm 30. And he said, you know what? He said, I'm 69. He said, let me tell you something. He said, I have fucked everybody that I ever thought I wanted to fuck. He said, I have traveled everywhere I have ever wanted to go. He said, I've made a lot of money in my life. And he said, you know what? A lot of my friends are dead. He said, I'm 69 years old. And he said, you know what? I never took the time to really get to know a person and build anything with them. He said, I did everything for myself. He said, now, all of my friends are gone. He said, for whatever reason, I'm still here. He said, I'm lonely. My siblings are dead. My parents are dead. I don't have anybody. And he said, you know what? It cost me $25 to get in here. And he said, let me ask you a question. I said, what is that? He said, if you were in here participating, would I be your choice? And I kind of paused. He said, I want you to answer honestly. And I said, no. And he said, I know that. He said, so you know what's sad for me? I said, what's that? He said, after I pay to get in here, then I have to pay somebody to let me suck the dick. He said, because when people see me, they see nothing but an old, lonely gay man. He said, and that's what I am. He said, so my advice
Wow.
to you is if you ever find someone that you connect with, build with that person. He said, because even if that person dies and leaves you alone, at least you'll have some fond memories. And I was like, wow, it totally changed my whole outlook on things.
Wow.
You know, and it was an epiphany. I was like, oh my God. It was like, I'm lucky if somebody will leave their little room door open so I can view.
Right.
I'm like,
right.
Jesus, wow. So I say that to say this. While we have an opportunity to get to know who we are, take advantage. And let's go through some of these stereotypes and let's get through some of this and let's just get to the origin, the truth of the matter, the truth of who we are on the inside. And let us define who we are and let us not define ourselves by society's rules or someone's rules or by BET's rules or MTV's rules.
Would you say BET or MTV's rules?
Yes,
Hush
Lord,
now.
because, I mean, they promote these people, and that's great. They're lovely people, because the one thing I don't believe in is taking away from what God has given a person.
Right.
If you got a 12-inch dick, and you got a six-pack, and you know your mug is all together, and when you walk, people look, I say, go on with your bad self.
Right,
Go
right,
with
right.
your bad self. But know who you are on the inside, because if your insides don't match your outside, it doesn't really matter. You know, I'm a storyteller.
Okay, right.
I'm a storyteller. Read a Playboy magazine many years ago. I don't know who this guy is, but long story short, beautiful guy, you know, did some modeling, had this girlfriend that had been with him a number of years, and, you know, a lot of infidelity, you know, cheating on her with all of these women and men, and I guess this guy lived in L.A. and was voted Mr. Black L.A., looked beautiful, just on the jet set, had a car accident, burned, I think, 70% of his body.
Ooh.
He's quadriplegic, will never walk again. He can barely talk and has to use one of those voice boxes. And he wrote an article in Playboy, and I read this as a very young person. He said, you know, it took something like that to show him what love really was, because that one woman that he just had abused the whole time that he was it and popular stood by him through that. And even after he looked like a monster and could no longer perform and could no longer walk, and all of the pretty people went away. We have to look beyond our physical, because that's not guaranteed to any of us.
But here's the thing, because we all know that, and we don't necessarily internalize that because we hear it as pretty words. But when we have a culture and a society that constantly badgers us about what our masculinity should be, you know what I mean? I have never been the most masculine person, okay, on the planet. Never. Okay, and it upset my father because I'm the firstborn child.
Right.
I have never been. I even walk like my mother. Okay.
I walk like mine too.
I walk like my mother. So, how do you see us? Oh, I'm gonna pose that to anybody. Anybody, if y'all out there, chime in, because see, I need to hear all the viewpoints on this. How do we then press past all that? LGBT culture, you know, like I said at the beginning of this thing, this is something that we have been fighting from the jump. The whole masculinity versus femininity thing within the culture. And then society jumps on it because they only accept gay if it's feminine. You know what I mean? If the gay person is 5'5" to 5'7", slender build, slight lip at his wrist, he has to be either, you know, just all the stereotypes. You know, either the interior decorator or the hairdresser. He's quick with the one-liners, you know, the quick quips, you know, very fashionable, okay? And carrying on, and is perceived to be a bottom. Okay. Okay, and it's perceived to be a bottom. That there is what society says is gay. Okay, because they can point at it, they can identify it. But we as gay folks don't like that. We sit up there and say that we don't care for that. We sit up there and say that if it ain't masculine, it's got to be a truck driver, it's got to be a doctor, it's got to be somebody who is, you know, who's in touch with what being a man is all about. And I've had several arguments about this with gay folks alike, as well as straight folks, because I'm like, honey, it's the femme queens that's been on the battlefront. The trans girls have been on the battlefront fighting for all of this shit that we claim. You know what I'm saying? They the ones. And they have been out there on the forefront. And I'm proud to say that I was one of them on the forefront or on the front line, because I've dealt with a lot of the bullshit that comes with everything else. And I think that a lot of folks hide behind masculinity because of the church, because of everything else, and then it becomes what I consider to be pseudo-masculine, because they become hyper-masculine, always into sports, always got to talk about this, always got to talk about that to prove their manhood, when it's nothing to prove. If you're a man, you're a man. Now, there are absolute extremes, because you got that person that's on one extreme that is so masculine, he's a fucking Neanderthal. Then you got the bitch that's so far feminine that don't want to identify with nothing masculine. And it's not trans. And I'm not talking about the trans girls. I'm talking about those who are just so far feminine to where they don't want to even identify nothing masculine about them. And then they want to be all, you know, weak-minded and weak this, and act as if they don't know how to function. And you know, it just unnerves me. I got somebody coming in. I'm finna bring them in with us. I'm going right here. 423-635. 423-635. Come on in. You dishing tea with Big Meech?
Hey, Big Meech.
Hello, caller.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. What's up?
Okay, this is Red. How you doing?
Hey, baby. You know what? If I had a crystal ball, I don't know why I knew you were going to call in on this particular show. But, yes, what's your thoughts on it, baby?
Here you go. First of all, this won't surprise you, but I almost think the exact opposite of what you just said.
No, it doesn't surprise me. This is one I have these debates with. Go ahead.
But here's the thing we're talking about right now. I think we blame too much on quote unquote society or the mainstream. I think that what you were talking about is a cult of personality of our own creation. Because you have the guys that you were talking about are feminine and don't want to fight with nothing masculine, or even just the guys who are just feminine. They gravitate towards the hairdresser, the interior decorator, the fashion decorator, so forth and so on, event planners, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Partially because these are all professions that A, you don't have to get up early in the morning and be at, and B,
good point.
Right. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, the club life is a big part of the gay lifestyle, and if you started out going to the club, which many of us did, because that was where we found people we identified with, and that's where we felt most comfortable. Well, then you have all of these guys that then turn around and bringing back a term from the old school, all they wanted was trade. All they wanted was the masculine guys who didn't even want to look at their dick, didn't want to know that they had a dick, just wanted them to rough fuck them and be on their way. They wanted the married men because that was considered to be the pinnacle of masculinity. If you were married and had children, then, you know, and just fooled around on the side, that was okay. And this is what the gay community accepted by and large.
Okay. All right.
The thing is that, and now it's becoming, it's really interesting because what I see happening now is everybody's trying to blend, because I have never seen, as long as I have been in this life, with, you know, years, I've never seen so many
Wait a minute, Red, you're starting to break up, baby.
Yeah,
can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you. Okay,
yeah.
Start that again.
Okay.
You have never seen so many people what?
I've never seen so many people who have identified themselves now as versatile tops or flat out versatile.
Okay.
And what's interesting about that is, I mean, I think that's progress, but what's interesting about that is that you still have some feminine guys who are out there who will tell you if you are a versatile top, you ain't a real top. If you versatile, you ain't a real top.
You know that burns me.
Right. And,
yeah.
you know, and if you don't conform to this stereotype that they have about being masculine, then you just don't fit the bill. And, you know, it's ridiculous because, you know, let's face it, we you know, the biggest problem in all of this is that we don't have very many gay role models, especially in the black community, that we can identify with, mentor with, be a, you know, because when the kids come out, you know, they tend to gravitate to what they see. And what they end up seeing is the feminine side of the whole situation. And then, you know, sometimes that's what they identify with. I mean, sometimes, you know, you have a dude that is a top, but he's been around, you know, as he came out, he was around so many feminine dudes that is what he portrays.
Okay.
So what is the top?
Okay.
I mean,
go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, what does it mean to be a top? Because, you know, I used to, for many years, came out a long time ago, and I always felt like I had to define my sexual self to other people when heterosexual people don't go around saying I'm a top or a bottom. I mean, if you have a couple together that's heterosexual, we don't know what we assume that, you know, the woman is laying in a missionary position and the man is on top. We assume that, but it could be that the man is laying down and the woman is doing the work. So as it relates to men, just in general, why do I have to be a versatile top, a versatile bottom? What the hell does that mean? I'm a sexual being. And who knows what's going to happen when we start to engage in sex. And that's one of the things I want to bring to the forefront with people. Why do we feel the need to identify what? Because I mean, if I'm saying I'm a top, what I'm saying is I don't get fucked in my ass. That's just plain language. If I say I'm a bottom, then I'm saying that I don't use my penis. I like to get screwed in my butt. But why is that important, and why do I need to announce that?
Well, you know what?
That's my take on that.
And here's the thing, you know, and it's sad, and I'm going to generalize now, but this is the thing that has happened that I do feel society lit the fuse on, but you know, we've had plenty of opportunity in the gay community to put it out, but we didn't. We feel like we've got to identify ourselves. You know, we have, first of all, a lot of us, you know, couldn't hold water if we were carrying a bucket.
Gotcha.
You know, I mean, you know, like you said, if it's a heterosexual couple, they're not running around, and again, I'm generalizing, but they're not running around telling everybody what they did in bed. I mean, you know, what them and their wife are doing behind closed doors, and you don't ask. You know, like you said, and we are all sexual beings. And we all have the same nerve endings at the tip of our dick. We all have the same nerve endings that are surrounding our asshole. We all have, you know, the same nerve endings that are on our nipples. So, you know, and that's why I think, honestly, it's blending now. It's coming down to where one day I think, you know, we will get to where everybody is virtual.
Okay.
But you know, the thing is that we're not going to get there as long as we allow ourselves to, A, have to label ourselves, B, feel like there is some set mold that we must conform to, you know, and you know, because I mean, I have known plenty of drag queens that have monster dicks and all they do is fuck all day.
Right.
You know? I mean, so, you know, say again?
Yeah, I know, they do. And I just don't think we should put each other in boxes like that, like if you are a transgender or a drag queen, because there's a big difference between the two. But if you are a trainee or a drag queen that likes to use your God-given penis, so be it. But when we see people in drag, we just assume that they want to be women or they identify as women, and therefore their partner is sticking them in the butt. And that is not always true. But then my point always is with that, why do we have to broadcast that? I mean, if that rule of broadcasting should be like that, then maybe heterosexual people should start telling us what roles they assume in their bed. I mean, you know,
well, let me say this about the broadcasting part, and you know, I believe it comes down to one basic theme, and I think that theme is wanting to be accepted.
So
you know, we broadcast it to you know, our contemporaries because we think that that's going to score us some points with them. We announce it to the heterosexual community, our heterosexual friends or whatnot, because we feel like if we can only get them to understand where we're coming from, then we can be closer.
You hit the nail on the head, sweetheart. I mean, that's just truth. That is so,
and I mean,
and it's so sad.
And it is, and it's the same kind of thing that where guys especially in the gay community they don't know how to separate sex, affection, love.
Wow. There's some real talk right there.
Right. That's just all one big word, sex, affection, love.
Part of, well, see, here's the thing. Because, see, within that, within not knowing how to separate it, see, this still goes back to what I said earlier. Men, period, have not been able to do that because we've never been taught that. All of that has been suppressed, and it all comes down to what it means sexually. Every time men end up having to face some kind of emotion, he knows how to express it sexually. So it becomes a big old blur. Because when I'm sad or when I'm down and out and need a shoulder to cry on and just need an intimate moment, it ends up turning into, if you just hold me right, then they get to kissing and then they start fucking because I'm feeling sad. If I'm happy and joyous because I want to share something with you, then I get so happy to where I want to share everything with you, we end up fucking because I'm happy. Okay, if I just got a Jones on me and just trying to get a nut, then I'm tricking because not only am I fucking you, I want to go out now because I feel like tricking. And a lot of this whole thing of having the labels and to announce whether or not I'm top or bottom is because we don't know how to have relationships, because a lot of that mentality is tricking mentality, because I want to go out and get what I want, and I want it the way that I want it, so I have to announce, oh, I'm a top, oh, I'm a bottom. No, I'm versatile, so that I get exactly what I want.
But listen to this. Here's the thing on that. If we are, first of all, a lot of this is a throwback to slavery, and this is why I say that. When we were slaves, we fucked when the master said we fucked. And we fucked to make strong babies when the master said we fucked. Okay, and then not only that, but then you had to take whatever emotions you had, and you had to stuff them down as far as you could in the pit of your stomach, because at any point, your wife, your kids, your family could be ripped away from you and sold, or you could be ripped away from them and sold. So this became something that grew into partially an instinct, and partially it's been handed down generation to generation from father to son, so forth and so on, because this is what was called for. When we were in the civil rights fights of the 60s, here was, we were still at a point where we couldn't look a white man directly in the eye. If they wanted to harass me and the date I was with, then we had to take it, because if we didn't, next thing you know, we find ourselves swinging from a tree.
Exactly.
Right.
My question is, how do we get out of that? Because now, and from that slavery days to the civil rights movements, we're like 2010, and you said something that I posted, and nobody's really commented on this. Who are our role models? I mean, who is the person? Amit, you spoke about the trannies and the queens, standing in the front line for our civil rights, and a lot of them were jailed and killed. And that's why a lot of us are living, breathing, and walking, and have some of the rights that we do have today because of what they endured. Did a lot of research on Stonewall, and did a lot of research on transgenders, because they were the ones who stood in the front line. They were the ones who marched. They're the ones who got beat and killed and went to jail. So we could have some level of civil rights. But you said it, Red. When does someone publicly stand out and not set a standard necessarily, but kind of live their lives? I mean, who do we go to? Because when I have people I can go to now because we have matured. But when I first came out as a younger person, the people that I would talk to was talking trash. They were telling me how to, back then, to roll up a joint, how to get some dick, how to get some ass, how to get somebody to pay for your drinks, and how to make sure you had this particular designer, so on and so forth. How do we move past that?
Well, listen, here's one of the things.
Go ahead, Red. Take it first.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is one of the things that I think we have to do, because, like you said, there have been many standing on the front lines for our civil rights, and there would not be Ellen. There would not be a lot of Rosie McDowell. There wouldn't be a lot of the people that are out there. But here's the deal. First thing is, it's in my opinion, it's always easier to be a lesbian than it is to be a gay man, because because first of all, two women having sex is a turn on to most straight men.
Yeah, because they still need it.
Right. And it's a turn off when two men kiss. That's why it took so very long. There were women kissing on TV way before you ever saw a man-on-man kiss. But what we have to do to change that is we have to be able to say, okay, the people who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, instead of, because let's face it, when we came out, if we were young when we came out or whatever, let's say 18, 19, 20, whatever, these people who were in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, they weren't interested in mentoring us. They were interested in fucking.
That's right.
Yeah,
can't fuck with that one.
Yeah, you said it.
And the problem is that, as a man of a certain age, it's when you look back on that and you realize, okay, I've got to step up and be able to be a friend to these youngsters, to not give them weed, not give them coke, not, go to bed with every young thing that gives me attention, because that is the trap that we fall in. Because once we get in our 40s, and we start thinking, okay, I'm not as sexy as I was in my 30s and my 20s. I'm not accepted as much. Well, then you get this 25-year-old guy that just wants to, be all over you. And instead of taking some time and saying, listen, let me give you some advice. Let me be your friend. Let me be your mentor. Let me guide you, through some of the pitfalls that I've been through.
Right.
That's how we change it. But at the same time, now let's look at the other thing, because just like in the African American struggle for civil rights, there were those people in African Americans who were either mixed or whatever, and they could pass. Well, the reason that the drag queens, the trannies, feminine guys have been on the front line is because by and large, the majority of us can pass. And as long as we feel like that's all we want to do is pass, then no, we're not going to be willing to stand up. We're not going to be willing to say, okay, you know, let me pick up a sign. Let me march in the parade. Let me go down to City Hall and talk about what's not right. You know, it's a shame that Prop 8 in California was passed because there were not enough people who were willing to stand up and say, listen, this is how this is working. This is,
right.
It was worded tricky. Some people thought that if they were supposed to vote yes on Prop 8 instead of no.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Not enough people. We don't, you know, that as black people, you know, when we were from slavery times on up, we had a general place to gather and get information, which was the church.
Right.
As gay men and women, you know, the only common place we have to go is the club, and the club ain't trying to give you no information.
No information, right.
Is drink, dance, drink some more, and see you tomorrow.
And pick up trade.
Okay.
And pick up trade. Now, see, here's what I say on that as well, because I agree. But see, we then start going into those areas, because then it comes in the argument of preference over exclusivity, because there's a number of folks in my generation gap who are just chicken hawks. They prefer, quote unquote, to date younger men. They prefer this, that, and the other. And so when they see their dating pool, they're not going to educate. They're not even going to mentor. They're looking to bring in these folks as husbands, the newbies, and carrying on. So for those who are attracted to the young folk, not just, you know, looking at them as just a one-night roll in the hay, but those who are legitimately attracted to them, they're not looking at the whole big picture of this. They're looking at a mate, you know. So that then comes into this argument, because how do you then become a mentor to the newbies when you sit up there wanting the newbie to be a husband? And that's not, you know, and I think it just becomes, it becomes just a half-hearted picture, you know. And then also, I think that the whole coming out process needs to be evaluated, because, you know, with coming out, a new person comes out to promiscuity. A new person comes out to just, you know, a whole array of a lot of bullshit of what LGBT culture is all about. Because I know I came out to bookstores. I became promiscuous because the first time I set foot into any kind of gay establishment, it was a bookstore. That's how I learned glory holes. That's how I learned, you know, a lot of the behavior that I know, because that was acceptable. It was coming out, and it was all about divide and conquer. The same premise that we learned as kids, only except for it being with a woman, and I got pictures on my arm, I'm dealing with motherfuckers. And so because we are men, and men do what men do, and it's all about sex anyway, it was nothing said about that, because that's all men do is just to get their dick wet anyway. So I came out to promiscuity at 14. Okay, I'm 40 now. So within that time frame, it took me up until I was 35 to actually get a hold on it, because for such a long time, it dictated my life. Because even when I thought I was sophisticated enough to say, okay, that's not what I wanted, the behavior did not change because that there was just a part of my living.
And
you know,
and you know what though? You know what, Demetrius? Here's the thing. Now, the part of this is going to be self-serving, but you know, who helped you discover that there was more to you than promiscuity? There was more to you than, being Mother Meech.
I got you.
Red, you were one of the inspirations behind that, but it still took a lot because in that developing cycle or that cocoon mode, there was a lot of bullshit that I had to contend with, and you got the brunt of it. You got a lot of that.
Here's the thing. That's because for 20-something years, you had been programmed to believe that this was it. This was, you fit in this box, and that's where you needed to stay. Now, the other part of it is that, like I said, it's very easy for somebody to say, all right, well, here you are, you're younger, you're eager, you want to suck my dick, you want to eat my ass, whatever, so I'm going to let you do it. But it's very difficult when you're dealing with that kind of thing to say, no, I want to be your friend. No, I want to show you there are many different boxes that you can step in. There are many different people who live in the one person. Not just, I am Meech and I'm gay and I'm feminine and this, that, and the other thing, but you are a black man. You are a son, a brother, an uncle, and in some cases a father. So
a mentor.
Right.
Right. So if this is the thing, and I'll openly admit, I'm one of those people who I am attracted to younger guys. But the only difference is that I want to try and not only be a lover and the mighty oak that stands in the forest or whatever. I also want to be that person that helps you realize that you don't have to go to the club every night. You don't have to fall into the role of, just because something looks good or feels good, you've got to follow through with the whole thing.
Exactly. Press pause for just a second, because I'm down to the last 51 seconds of airing live. So if you're listening by computer, if you want to continue on, you're going to have to call in now at 347-205-9183, or you would catch all this in the archives because the computer is going to stop streaming. And, so let me thank you all for tuning in now. If I lose you, and I'm not going to have a program next week. Next week, Big Beach will not be in. I'll be doing some film work, honey. So I got called to do some extra work on the new Tyler Perry film for colored girls. So we're going to take advantage of that opportunity. So I won't be in next week. So so keep that in mind, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Okay? Now let's continue on.
You should let me co-host for you. I mean, guest host for you. But
you want a guest host? Okay, we'll talk about it. Okay.
We'll talk about it. But the thing about it is, like I said, if we want to change what has been, we have to realize that, number one, you're going to get what you always got if you do what you always did.
That's true.
And
that's true.
But the other part that is a generalization as well, but the other part is that gay men are some selfish bastards.
Oh, God.
Now, I mean, it really, because the first thing is, and I swear that there are so many guys out there that I know who ended up becoming gay because it was far easier having sex with men than it was to have sex with women.
Interesting.
You know, when they would have to, you know, you had to go through, you got to take a woman out, you got to buy them dinner, you got to show them the town, they want to talk about feelings and getting to know you and this, that, and everything. And guys were like, you know, okay, this is, you know, I'm going to go through this. But then when they discovered at some point that having sex with another man was easy. Yeah, all you had to do was, and this goes back to what we were saying, all you had to do was announce whether you were top or bottom or versatile, and, you know, if you wanted to get your dick sucked, you got your dick sucked. If you wanted some ass, you got some ass. If you wanted some dick, you got some dick.
Exactly.
So,
you know what I think?
That's part of it. The self-respect aspect is so huge because when we don't have respect for ourselves, how can we ask anybody else to respect us?
Agreed. But how do we get people out there? We talked a little bit about role models. And again, a lot of the people that were our seniors when we came out wasn't looking necessarily to play a positive role model in our lives. A lot of them try to have you when you first come out or just set you up. But we have people right now. We talked a little bit about women, lesbian women that are out there like Ellen and Rosie and a few other women that are coming out of the closet and they're gaining success in their careers. And we as people, even if we don't necessarily agree with their lifestyle choices, we still allow them to prosper in so many ways. But there is yet to be one African-American man who has publicly not ousted out, but publicly stepped out and identified as a gay man where everybody could see. I'm not talking, I mean, and it's great if it's the person in your city that works in City Hall and they do it, but they're not as accessible as some of the celebrities that we all know that there are a few, or some went to their grave that never came out of the closet. I love Luther to death, love everything he made, but anybody who knew about him knew what time it was. Never publicly came out and said anything.
Right, and see, here's the problem. Here is where the problem lies. It's that, first of all, announcing that you're a gay man is a career killer, especially for African-American men. Because if you are, like Nietzsche was saying earlier, if you are, quote-unquote, listed and you know, a little on the queenie side or whatever, then you're more accepted by men and by women. But if you are a masculine gay man and you come out, first of all, you make straight men nervous.
Number one.
You make straight women angry. Because they want you to be the mighty oak and to think about the fact that you might be fucking another man just is, you know, horror to them. So
and wait, and let me add this. If you are masculine and they know that you bottom, that there becomes one of the greatest taboos in African American culture.
Well, yeah, but see, that goes back to why we have to announce what we do. I am out. I am out to everybody in my family. Everybody.
Yeah, me too.
Now, nobody in my family knows whether I top or I bottom or anything. They know, as far as I'm concerned, they know that I'm gay. That's all they need to know.
That's all they need to know, exactly.
You know, but see, like I said, the problem is, though, you got so many people out there that feel like they got to run their mouth. They have to announce what they do, who they do, how they do, why they do, all because they want acceptance, inclusion. And if we are telling, you know, we know that, like I said, if you announce that you are a gay man and that you're a masculine man, then whatever career you're in is over. You know, unless you fall into those categories you were talking about earlier, hairdresser, fashion designer, you know, interior decorator, so forth and so on. Yeah, then you can be as gay as you want to be, or not, you know, not show it as much or whatever, and it doesn't matter, because then you're fitting into this box that other people want to put you in.
Exactly.
So first of all, we have to start demolishing this box that people have set aside and decided this is where we live. And we have accepted that this is where we live. And, you know, the thing is, and the unfortunate thing is, I wish I could put it all on heterosexual America.
Right, because we can't. Exactly.
It is also our own people.
That's right.
Look at the minute we see somebody on television that is acting a little effeminate. Oh, look at that queen. Oh, you know, I can't stand that. Oh, that's so this, that's so that. And God forbid that we see something like that with our straight friends. Then we turn on our people so quick. We become like, you know, we become like Peter. We deny.
Exactly.
And so it's the question of, do you respect yourself? You have to ask, and it's only something that is going to come from personal introspection and wanting to be out of the box that you've been placed in. It's only going to come from being able to say, okay, if I respect myself, I respect my people, I'm going to be true to myself, I'm going to be true to my people, and yes, I'm going to stand up. It might mean that my career is over, but I'm going to stand up. And I'm going to be counted, and I'm going to start letting people know that it's okay. Because, you know, you got the funniest thing, I always think this is hilarious. When you see a show on television or a movie, a dancing show, or anything that guys are in, and maybe they have on, you know, tight clothes or whatever. Now, the cameraman will focus on a woman's breast for God knows how long. On her butt, you can see all the dimples in her butt.
That's it. Okay.
But if the cameraman happens to slide over to the man and they get a crack shot, they quickly turn away.
They sure do.
It's like
even in straight porn, they do that.
Right.
Because that is the whole thing. It's like, if, first of all, and there are a lot of gay cameramen, but they still want to work, so they can't do anything to even suggest that they might be gay. Because if the boss sees that they lingered on this man's crotch or this man's butt for too long, they're going to be asked, well, why'd you do that? What was that for? And our audience doesn't want to see a man's butt. They want to see the woman's butt.
Right.
And then we capitulate. We go, oh, okay, my bad. I probably, I lost focus for a minute or whatever the excuse may be. Well, it's time that we stop making excuses just to be put in a box and sealed up and put over on a shelf somewhere. We don't have to be in that box. We don't have to live in that box. But the only way, and it's not even something that I can teach you. This whole thing about self-respect, and I mean even Nisha and I had these discussions on many times that, my whole thing was you have got to respect yourself before anything else, above anything else other than God. You got to respect yourself. You have to be willing to draw some lines in the sand. You have to be willing to say, okay, you're out of line. Okay, don't do that. Don't associate me here. Don't treat me like I'm a trick. Because as long as people they can treat you like a trick, they're going to treat you like a trick.
Okay, then that's all you will be is a trick.
And that's true.
Right.
But who are the people who start the process? Because if it's not happening in the homes, and this goes back to our community, our churches, and our family, and the people that we surround ourselves around. If I'm raised in a particular household, I'm not being honest. That's the first thing. I am not being honest about who I am because I'm afraid to be who I am, so that part of me never gets nurtured. And then, okay, I get to be a certain age, and it gets to be overwhelming. I just come on out so I can breathe. Okay, so now I'm out there, mom and dad and grandma know, and the cousins and all aunts and uncles, and then I start to venture out to find people like me. And then when I find people like me, and especially, and I had said before you joined in, there is a shift in our community because I see it. There is a shift. I do realize that people, and me just air of mine, I'll be 40 this year. The bottom line is we come out, and what do we come out to? Who are we coming out to? I didn't, and I'm sure there were people, and probably I didn't see them because they were in their homes and at their jobs, but no one said, hey, Scott, it's all right to be who you are, but let's get you enrolled in college. Let's get a career going. This is how you handle this. I mean, my experiences with sex early on were horrific. There was nobody to talk to. And, like here in L.A., we got like the L.A. Gay and Lesbian Center and the Youth Center and this center and that center. None of that was available to me. I didn't know anything but other real feminine gay guys and their trade. And they told me, because I was 6'2", 250 pounds as we speak right now, but back then a lot smaller. But a big guy, a tall guy, a dark-skinned guy, and I had to be put into a box some kind of way. So I had to choose whether I was going to be feminine or masculine.
Right. And you couldn't breathe in that box.
No, I couldn't. So I couldn't breathe in the box that I was in at home either. But then when I got out there in the world, I couldn't breathe in that box, and I was about 30. I didn't know what the F I liked.
Because
or
you know
what
what?
was okay.
That box, the box out in the community is no different than the box at our parents' house. But we don't realize that because we think because we were able to come out, because we were able to say, Mom, Dad, this one, we thought that meant that we were out. All that meant is that we told Mom and Dad that we were gay. It didn't mean that we were out. It didn't mean that we were living free. It didn't mean that we had what we needed to survive.
Right,
right. I have to take off, but as usual, I enjoyed the show, Meech, and I will talk to you another time.
All right, okay. I love when we have round tables like that because it gives. I like to hear the different viewpoints. So, Red, thanks for calling in. And yeah, darling, this has been just, it's been very, very fulfilling. To sit back. I like it sometimes when I can sit back and not have to do all the talking sometimes because, I'd like to hear folks and say, when I sit back, I like to hear and I like to listen to what's being presented, because my audience, not to cheat them out of anything, they just need to understand some things. So in this, as I said before, honey, I don't know if we'll ever get to the end of this discussion because every time there's a new generation of LGBT to hit the scene, honey, there's another nuance to it. There's another twist on it. There's another this, there's another that. And so until that day comes when we are seen with the same amount of equity as our mainstream counterparts, until we are seen as valuable to ourselves, for ourselves, then I think the whole thing of masculinity versus femininity in society and within LGBT culture, and more specifically with black folks, I think this here is going to always be a debatable topic, a debatable topic. And this is one, I would say on the air, this is one of the few times that I've agreed with Red, because prior, we would have these discussions, in our homes and things, and honey, we would just go round robin because, sometimes the arguments that he presented I felt were a little chauvinistic in some areas. But today's arguments that he presented, now I have to agree with, because it is we ourselves that still perpetuate this. We still hold on, and I wrote a piece called "The Gay Step and Fletcher" because it's in my notes. When you go back on your Facebook page, go to my notes because it's there. Because I feel that we as gay people feel as though in order to keep our heterosexual friends or heteroattractional friends and the other counterparts, that we put on this grandiose performance, to give them what we think they want, to see us as gay folk, and it becomes a whole minstrel show. And then we, as gay folks who can point it out, we become offended by it because we feel as though they're outing us as well. Right. And it then becomes a whole big, it's a catch-22 in a lot of different instances. But I suggest that it's time for us to put away the gay step inflections and to put away all of those. If we can learn how to let the coming out experience be different than what we know it to be, then we'll be all right. And part of that is we have to have our mentors intact, and let me say this, mentors, not parents, because we get caught up in a lot of these different houses and things. The new kids got these houses now. And they got the mamas and the daddies of the houses, but a lot of the houses are, they still want status. They ball walkers and this, that, and the other. So a lot of this is still for status and attention. So I don't know what the lessons are that they're learning in these houses, but the ultimate thing is competition to get on, to be on the battlefield, to have status, to say I'm legendary and bitch you can't come for this, and oh I'm this and I'm that. and I don't necessarily agree with the message there. You know, I haven't attended a lot of balls, so, you know, I don't know what is being taught in the houses outside of what I see during the balls.
I think there's still a sense of camaraderie there. I think it's a sense of belonging. And to me, I equate that, and I hope anybody that may be listening doesn't get offended. I equate those houses like I do street gangs.
Because they are. That's exactly what they are.
What they are. And it represents family and connection and being a part of. And then with that comes, you know, the fierceness of the balls and walking and the attitude and the dress. All of that is a part of that culture. But I think for the people who join to say you got a house mother and a house daddy, and, you know, and they teach you to be serious and somewhat arrogant, because a lot of us don't get the acceptance in our home. And I feel like
exactly.
We don't get it in our homes. We don't get it in our church. And so we want to be a part of it. And I think most of us just want to feel a part of something. But what we have to understand, and it took me forever, and I still some days struggle with this, the only thing that I have to be a part of is me.
Hello.
I become secure with who I am, not arrogant, but secure. And confident in the ability that God has blessed me with. Therefore, I don't need to be a part of a particular group to make me whole.
Right.
You know, if I am a part of a group, like I started a group on Facebook, I hope that blossoms and flourishes to as high as it can get, along with your radio show. But that doesn't define me. I'm a part of it, but I'm an individual. And
exactly.
I don't have to associate myself with those things. And I think that's one of the things. One of the things I wanted to talk about before we talked about older men and young guys, right? And at practice to young guys, I wanted to say this for anybody that would have listened. At no point do I think that older men and younger guys should not date. I think, and this is real deep on a spiritual level, sometimes souls just connect. You could be 23 and a person you connect with could be 57. But for chicken hawks that purposely manipulate, go after younger boys with the intent of objectifying them, them, and not allowing them to have the experience. Because if you're a young person, whether you're straight or gay, when you come into the independence, the bottom line is you're going to explore sex, you're going to explore all kind of options. And I think when we take hostage of these young guys and try to mold them into what we want them to be for our own selfish gratification.
That's it. Say it.
And justice, because they don't get an opportunity to go out here and see what this world is about. We're actually stunting their growth. But there is a difference between two people who just actually connect and are attracted to each other. And, yes, you can take a 21 or 22-year-old guy and give him to an older guy, and they could work out perfectly. But it has to be a soul connection there. And that's just, I wanted to preface it with that. So anyone didn't think that, or anybody that was listening that is dating a much younger person wouldn't think that we're saying you shouldn't do that.
Right. Not that you shouldn't do it or that we're going to frown upon you, because, like I said, there are those who actually are attracted to the younger generation. Mm-hmm. My whole thing is that when that becomes an excuse for you to sit down and because you can't cut it with your own age group because of your own self-esteem issues. You see, that's what it is. You can't cut the mustard in your own age group, so you feel you have to because you want to hold on to the fountain of youth, and you want this and you want that. And you take these boys, these young little boys, and destroy them by with all the temptation they carried on, and exploit their ignorance to being gay because they're not inoculated to the culture yet. And you exploit their ignorance to their newfound freedom. And then leave them out there to dry, because now that flip their world upside down and they'd have no way of recovering from it, you left them out there to dry, then you roll off laughing. I have a problem with that. That's that's the behavior that I want to stress here, because those I've seen it work where, you know, there may have been a 10, maybe even a 20-year age difference, you know, in couples. And for whatever reasons, it seemed to have worked. But with every couple, you know, there's internal struggles, and you know, it's. I've seen it to where they've overcome that. I've seen it to where the younger one have matured and was like, okay, you know, this may be a little bit too much for me. I love you, but I have to pull out of this because this is not conducive for me. And I've seen that to where you've actually seen it a healthy growth, not the destructive kind, to where you done tore up this child, and now out of wanting to feel loved and be loved and belong, and out of abandonment, then, you know, you turn this young, precious soul into a whoremonger, into a streetwalker, into someone running to drugs because they want to hide from the pain of being embarrassed and this, that, and the other. You know, all of those things. And for those who practice that kind of witchcraft, and yes, I'm calling it witchcraft, okay, I'm calling it witchcraft. Those of you who practice that kind of witchcraft, honey, I'm a witch hunter, because I will burn you at the stake for that shit, because that's wrong. That there is wrong.
It is a form of witchcraft because it's manipulation.
That's right.
No,
that's
you
right.
You hit the nail on the head. Well, I have to tell you, I have thoroughly enjoyed this, and I am more enlightened than I was when I woke up.
Thank you, baby.
I think this show is fabulous. I am going to promote it every way that I can.
Well, thank you, baby. I'm going to post it up in the group, so that way those who want, they can go right to the link and listen to the show, because, yes, child, it's almost 3 o'clock, honey. We've went entirely. I love it, too. I love it, because I have what I call the after show. So a lot of the stuff, a lot of kids are going to get in the after show, a lot of stuff that you and Red were talking. So I love that. So this is going to be a very full show, and it's very enlightening and entertaining. So with that, my darling, I know you got to get ready for work. I'm hungry now, and I'm talking myself into a hunger stupor. And, yes, so, honey, I thank you for coming on and for sharing your views. And let's do this thing. So from boys to men, honey, I love it. I love it. I think that's what we all are. And at 40 years old, honey, let's just say I'm a teenager. Okay.
All right, love. And again, thank you for having me. I so appreciate it. And we will
all right, baby.
Real soon, baby. Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
I'll see you on Facebook.
Yes, you will. Bye-bye.
All right, baby. Bye-bye. Okay.